Okay, welcome to another episode of On Point EDC. Today we have a really cool review for you from a really exciting and unique pen from the brand Autmog. These are actually all custom machined by Brian Howie out of Canada. And he's basically really passionate about machining. He makes all of these pens himself on machine tools in Vancouver, British Columbia, and he really takes pride in machining everything himself and stands behind every pen that he makes with a full warranty. These are truly custom made one by one. Now, I featured quite a few machined pens on the channel, and this definitely is in a completely different category when it comes to the small batch nature. This isn't just small batch. Again, this is single batch, and it's really, really impressive. And there's definitely a different type of aesthetic to it all, but I think Brian really embraces that, which is, I think, really awesome. So in terms of the type of pen, of course, this is a custom pen, some key characteristics and design language. When you're considering investing into a custom pen, of course, you're going to want a very unique design aesthetic as well as some fun fidgetable actuation, and then, of course, premium materials and construction. This is his 42-click pen, and it's made out of titanium, and it actually uses a Pentel Energel 7mm refill, which is my first experience with it, and these are super nice. So, this thing is pretty sweet, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with you guys. So with that said, let's go ahead, zoom the camera out, get this piece in hand, and take a closer look. Okay, now before we dive in, quick customary wristwatch check. Today I'm wearing my new Slim Turtle Save the Ocean limited edition. It is the SPB 333, and this thing's awesome, guys. I do have it on an anthracite Tropic strap, genuine Tropic, and it does have the rolled edge because I bought this directly from Tropic out of their newer inventory. So in case you're wondering what's on my wrist while we're taking a look at this excellent pen, that's that, and definitely check the channel history if you're interested to learn more about that piece. But let's take a closer look here, and I think another reason why it's a nice pairing to have Seiko with this pen is because, of course, Seiko, there is a certain level of wabi-sabi within Seiko. You can get down to it, you can find little imperfections and things like that, but it's actually kind of part of the design ethos in terms of things being natural and being okay with the imperfections. Now here, everything you're seeing, these are machine lines. There's no extra finishing that's done to cover up those machine lines. So these, all the lines, everything like that, these are completely functional. These are the byproducts of this thing being milled out and machined. And you can see that if you look at it, some of it isn't quite, it's just smoothed over or smoothed out, and that's because this design and the maker of this pen really embraces the level of work and craftsmanship and doesn't want to hide what he's able to do. And I think that's super commendable, and it's just a really different way to approach this type of product. Now, this is made entirely out of the tough and hard solid bar stock of 6AL-4V grade 5 titanium. So grade 5 titanium is definitely going to be really nice. It's an alloy, so it's not as pure as, like, let's say a grade 2, but it's going to give you a lot more strength because of that mixture. It's extremely minimal within this kind of clean design. The click and the return is definitely very solid. Ooh. And super satisfying. And let's just take a look at the finishing on the works there. That is just, yes. Oh, man, that is satisfying. Yes. There's something, yeah, that is just very, very clickable. So the tolerances, the fit and finish, and the mechanism, everything's very close and very tight. You do have to pinch that mechanism between your index finger and thumb to retract the mechanism, and it's definitely a very satisfying snap. The tip point details, check that out, guys. I'm gonna try to scoot this tip over There's literally at least no conceivable play that I'm able to see on that tip. And it's because it has a really tight fitting with a 2.3 millimeter bore and a tolerance of just 25 micron in terms of keeping that refill in place and where you want it. So you're not going to get any tip wiggle, which is great. You're also getting some great Higby threads to start the pen. So if we were to unscrew here. So we take a look. So you get, of course, that will help lead. And you can see this is a very simple setup, guys. I mean, this is all machined, all solid. Check this out. You can see underneath the clip, the machining there. The crazy thing is actually how uniform the machining looks. Even though, you know, again, this is really, it doesn't have extra finishing. This isn't brushed. These are machine lines. So that is just, look at that, all solid. There's no plastic hiding in here. I mean, apart from the plastic, of course, that you're going to get on this refill, you can see everything is extremely solid and just fully functional. And I really dig that. So we can take a look there. Very, very nice. So the thread action is really great. Also, everything is very refined in terms of, you know, there is some machined chamfering, so you can get clean finishes there, whether it be, let's say, in this little divot here that you're going to interact with, or that beautiful chamfer there on the click portion. And then nice and clean cut here. I mean, look at that. I love the little step in the body, which gives you extra grip while still keeping it kind of this great, very minimalist, smooth design. He does have some ones that don't have the grip little step out here. But I find it really cool. I think it's different. You know, it's not the deepest carrying type of pen. As you can see, basically it would only be in this deep. But when you have something really this cool and interesting to look at, you don't necessarily want to hide it in the bottom of your pocket. So, whew. This thing is really cool. Now, in terms of the price, some of you are probably thinking with the level of you know, the fact that this is all done in North America, it's not cheap, and there's one guy doing it, that you would think that in similar, you know, terms, if you were to get a knife that was custom made by one person, you know, machined from a solid piece of metal, you'd be paying a hefty markup over something that is going to be more production based, even if it's a small batch type of production system. Now, the crazy thing is this is only $111 direct, and I'm pretty sure that's actually Canadian dollars, so that's be even cheaper US. Definitely correct me down in the comments if I'm wrong. Actually, Brian sent this piece over for me just to check out. I casually asked. There was no expectations or anything like that. I've given him my feedback, and I just wanted to kind of understand and learn more, just because you know, folks kept kind of pointing me towards his brand. And once I got a look at, you know, what he's doing, you know, following him on Instagram, I was just blown away by the design aesthetic. And then once you get beyond the designs and you start looking at his just ethos of his execution, it is definitely extremely impressive and absolutely admirable. So titanium, you're getting that machine texture, extremely raw in nature. You know, I wouldn't say it's rough around the edges, because it is still, you know, really finely done and machined. But again, you're not covering up any of those, you know, those lines and everything that you're going to get from everything that kind of milled this down into its final form. Now, it definitely has a super solid feel, guys. Give it a shake. There's nothing. Even with this out, shake, nothing. I mean, everything is made to fit, and it's made to fit within an extremely tight tolerance, which is pretty hard to get when you start mass producing something like this. So very, very impressive. I mean, this aesthetically, I really love that kind of side click ball there. So you are going to get a really useful and functional pop. Yeah. Oh man, this thing is just gorgeous. And then it also aesthetically is freaking cool looking, man. I really, really dig that. And then in terms of the size, it definitely has a very, traditional pen-like size, not oversized, not undersized, not super slim. But it's just about 5.27 inches long. Thickness is about 10.5 millimeters at the widest point, which is going to be, of course, the wide point in the grip. And the weight is just over an ounce at 1.03 ounces. And I really dig that. In terms of in-hand ergonomics, this thing is really nice. Now, these fine machine lines, as you can see here, let me just bring it back up. This adds a bit of tactile engagement. So there's a nice amount of grip that's there. And then, of course, that fatter shaft really do fill the hand very nicely. Of course, I'm a lefty, and this thing just feels really, really great in the hand. Now, I don't typically do like, any type of review depth into the way that it writes, because at the end of the day, it's an interchangeable refill. It's not unique. It's not in-house, to the pen body. It's really about the body that's carrying that refill. So if you were in here to find more information about that Pentel, Energel refill, I'm sorry, I'm not going to really cover that too much, just because it really kind of doesn't make sense for the format. Now, in pocket, definitely unobtrusive and compact still, whether you're trying to put this in your breast pocket or in your, pant pocket. This thing is going to still be fine. You can see there is a good amount of gap here so that you can get that. Even though there is a bit of grip there, you'll still be able to slide this on and off in and out of the pocket really easily. Much easier from a shirt, of course, because typically it's a thinner material. But if you were to put this in your pant pocket, not going to be a big deal in terms of getting this on, unless maybe you're wearing something super, super thick. But other than that, this will be fine for most kind of use cases while you're carrying it. In terms of model variants, definitely check the links for the options and availability. Again, these are done kind of one by one, so he'll, kind of build them as he goes and then kind of list them also as he goes on the website. So in terms of comparable options, honestly, it feels odd to compare this to other pens that are in my collection, because by comparison, they all feel, pretty mass produced compared to this. And even though a lot of those are small batch and they're made in the USA and they're doing some really cool stuff. I mean, this is just such a different animal, just because even the stuff that's limited runs or really, extremely small in terms of, what they're doing or their iteration. This definitely takes that custom pen concept to another level in terms of kind of that in-house individuality. Like every pen is going to have a slightly different kind of look to it, because they don't cover that up. Sure, you could bead blast this or stone wash it and it would give you a pretty cool uniform look to it, but I don't know, there's just something about seeing the grind lines and the machining, and again, just appreciating the level of perfection within that imperfection. For me, it's just fun. It's just something different. And the cool thing is it's not really costing that much different than what you're already kind of paying for within the space. If you could get a custom handmade pocket knife for the same price you could get the production model, hands down, you're going to go with that custom, hand rubbed blade, all those things and all those little fine finishes. Although when you start getting into kind of mass production, then you can, typically, through the economies of scale, you can work in, fancier materials or technologies. Here, very simple, straightforward technology, top tier material already in terms of that grade 5 titanium. So for me, guys, the bottom line, this probably won't be for everyone. I think the raw like machined finish may go underappreciated by those that are looking for something that feels more traditionally finished. But for me, I think this thing looks awesome, and I can appreciate those fine little details that are here. And look at that. I mean, even the way that it just completely fills that little spot, it's just very, very cool, and I dig that. So for me, yeah, not for everybody, but for the collector who really wants the feeling of that kind of bleeding edge prototype that pushes the very limits of the maker's capabilities, like this, like he's getting better. Brian's getting better every time he makes one of these. So I mean, that's just fun. That's exciting. Like this is a snapshot within you know, the build capabilities of a really skilled craftsman who takes, you know, his creations very seriously. So I don't know, there's something that's really cool about that. You know, this pen is definitely something that you'll appreciate more, you know, if you have an eye for those kind of little details, you know. And it's fun to kind of cherish those little details, and kind of gives you something to fawn over for years and years and years. So I think the nice thing is here, you know, there's a little bit less of a honeymoon phase. You're just going to kind of always be looking for and enjoying and finding things. And then as you use it, of course, as a tool, you know, as a writing instrument, then you're also going to be adding to the wear and to the finish and to those little, again, those wabi-sabi elements of imperfection. So yeah, there's something that's just almost kind of poetic about it, and I was just really happy to get some time with this piece and share it with you all, because it is, again, it is absolutely, that's simple. I mean, this thing is just so simple, so elegant. The design is just really gorgeous and different than, you know, from what I've seen out there. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you like the video, please do a like, and if you already, please subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks, guys.